common question I get from a lot of sellers is about capital gains. When does it kick in? How much do I have to pay, etc. Well, I'm not an accountant. I am going to give you some rules to live by when it comes to selling real estate here in New York. One, if this property is your primary residence, in other words, on your annual income taxes for 2 out of the last 5 years, key numbers, 2 out of the last 5, it has been registered as your primary address, okay? You do have a threshold to hit before capital gains will kick in. If you are single, the threshold is $250,000 before capital gains will kick in. If you're married, then it's $500,000 before capital gains will kick in. Now, let's say that this property is an investment property or commercial property. You have capital gains for every dollar that you make. And the only way you can avoid paying taxes is, well, there's no such thing as avoiding paying taxes. You can defer them with a 1031 exchange, which we can talk about a whole different day. Now, so how does this work? Let's say that you are selling a property that you bought the property for $200,000 and now you're selling it for $800,000. But you have expenses when you go to sell the house. You have closing costs. You have the broker fee. You have transfer taxes. Maybe you did some major capital improvement sometime recently, like the last year or something like that, that you will be able to deduct that. So now let's say that you deduct all those things and somehow now your net is $700,000 off of that $200,000. Well, guess what? That's $500,000. So if you're married in that scenario, then you won't have to pay capital gains. Now, other things can also come into play because everybody is different, right? Let's say you have a snowbird property in Florida that you register as your primary residence for your income taxes, and you've had that property for 10 years as your primary residence because, hey, my insurance is cheaper. Well, guess what? They're going to hit you right now when you're going to sell that property here in New York, and capital gains will come into play. So that's a conversation you need to have with your accountant. Another caveat that I also come across is where maybe people inherited the property. And it all depends on how you got the property and when you got the property. If you got the property where your parent passed away and then you inherited it after that period, then the value of the property when you inherited it is now your basis. It's not what they paid for it. However, if they transfer that property to you before they passed away, then what they paid for that property becomes the basis. So it's really important to understand these things when it comes to taxes, and just know that a real estate agent can't really give you an answer as to what you're going to be paying when it comes to capital gains taxes, because we're not doing your taxes. Unless, I am a tax preparer, but I'm not doing your taxes. So I can't tell you exactly what you're going to pay, but these are the rules of thumbs that you're going to have to go by when you're selling property here in New York. Guys, if you're looking to sell or buy real estate, I'm your girl. Until next time, I will see you on Money Mondays with Melissa.